wrong about the Miami Hurricanes. They just keep winning. And now I understand, a little bit of luck of the draw. But at this point, I can't. I'm not going to get into they would have never beaten Georgia if Ole Miss hadn't taken out Georgia, right? Let's leave that for the off season. Let's talk about, look, Miami won their match. Ole Miss won their match. And here we go. This was 10 against 6 in this matchup. And Miami came out on top. And this time, unlike the first two matches in these playoffs, where Miami relied solely, maybe solely is unfair, but mostly relied on their defense. In this one, it was the offense bailing out a defense. And look, take our personal dislike for Ole Miss out of the equation. Just as a football fan, this was an exciting game. Exciting the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, right?
So, look, before the playoffs, I was kind of down on Cristobal, right? Mm-hmm. I think I have to own that. But the thing is, I haven't really changed my mind because of the 3 games that they've played, they have dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And the score is not reflecting that dominance.
Yeah.
Okay? And part of the problem is they're leaving points on the field, either through penalties or sacks or, missed field goals in the A&M game, turnover against Ohio State where they fumble in territory where they could have scored. But they couldn't get to Chambliss. Like they got pressure on him, but he wasn't sacked that much, right? Like I have to go back and look, but I don't think there were that many sacks in that game. But it was, they won the game, and Beck, I would not have bet on this. He came through with a clutch play that was the game. I would not have thought, unfairly so, I guess, as it turns out, that Beck would have been the guy who runs the ball in with 18 seconds left.
Yep, that was the most surprising thing. And again, look, give Ole Miss credit when Miami scores that touchdown to go up 31-27 with, what was it, 28 seconds?
18 seconds.
18 seconds. Ole Miss completes 2 deep passes, and they were in position from the 32, 33-yard line for a pass into the end zone that I don't want to talk about that right now, right? There's a lot of brouhaha about whether or not that should have been pass interference or not. We'll get to that in a minute, but just give credit to what Chambliss is doing, what that offense is doing. And, obviously some of what Kiffin was doing is still in place, even though Kiffin is not.
I mean, that's Kiffin's staff. Okay, it's Kiffin's offense. It's his offensive philosophy.
So
the fingerprints of their success were Kiffin's. But he wasn't playing, obviously calling the plays for their 3 playoff games.
So they almost got there. After, as you said earlier, Miami is dominating the lines of scrimmage. And they were in position to lose this game.
And the thing is, and Miami dropped a ton of interceptions in that game too.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what I mean by they're leaving points in the field. They dropped at least 1 pick six, and they dropped a bunch of other interceptions, and at least 3 or 4 that really would have made this game a much different game. Miami would have won by 2 or 3 touchdowns, but they didn't make those plays. And to Ole Miss's credit, and Trinidad Chambliss's credit, he shook off those throws and then made good ones. We were talking on the break about how Ole Miss broke football in the sense of
the way we've always understood it.
Well, at least the way I always look at it, right? I always look at it. Whichever team wins the line of scrimmage, barring weird stuff, is going to win the game. And if you win both lines of scrimmage, you should win by a lot. Well, Ole Miss got whipped by Georgia at the line of scrimmage and by Miami. And they beat Georgia, and they almost beat Miami. And it is one of those, but partially it's on Chambliss just being a tremendous player. right? And he's great, and his accuracy was amazing in those last two playoff games. Like he was throwing dimes for their down the field stuff, and they had a lot of good concepts against the Miami secondary in particular. But the thing is, like, if they play Georgia 10 times, do you think they win, what, 2 or 3 of them, tops?
At most 3. But, yeah, I mean, I think Georgia wins 8 to 9 times.
And I'll be honest, I think the same thing against Miami. But the thing that gets them, and look, they're out now, so I guess it doesn't matter. But that offense and their ability to get receivers in space is kind of terrifying. I mean, it's a really good offense. And is well executed, and the people were in it, and they did a great job. But kudos to Miami for stopping them, holding them some field goals in key situations, and then for making clutch plays in offense. I mean, Beck had that 3rd and 10. That was not an easy drive that Miami made to go ahead at the end of the game.
I mean, they ate up the clock. They ate up play. It was like 14 or 15 play drive to win that game. And I mean, I was shocked by the fact that Ole Miss was still able to get in position to win after a touchback, right? So it's not like they got a long kick return that put them in position. After a touchback, they were able to complete 2 deep passes with a fair amount of ease to put themselves in position. It was so surprising.
They hit open spots in the zone. And look, I know Miami was playing prevent, but man, you made it a lot more uncomfortable than it needs to be at the end because Ole Miss was throwing in the end zone from not that far away.
Yeah.
And look, I know Ole Miss fans are upset. Why is it pass interference at the end of the game? Well, it's because your receiver was grabbing the DB too. I mean, they were fighting each other. And you can't complain too much. You only call for 2 or 3 penalties the whole game. And you held on every play.
Yeah, so here's my take on that. I think, and this is my problem. I know we talked about it. I don't want to get into the whole human factor today. But I think that play gets called differently in the 3rd quarter. I think.
Oh, it does. I think you're right. I think that it would pass interference on anything but the last play.
Yep. But more importantly, I think that play gets called differently if the play does not, if making that call does not all but guarantee an Ole Miss victory, right? And it's not about Ole Miss. I'm saying what happened here was if Miami is up by a touchdown, I think they make that play. They make that call.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right?
Like,
they did not want to.
If it would have guaranteed victory, it would have been a 15-yard penalty. It's not like the pros where they would have on the 2 yards.
Oh, that's right. It's not a spot foul. I'm so. Yeah.
My view is that they let a lot go on Hail Mary plays because everybody's fouling everybody else.
Yeah.
And because the offensive player was also committing interference.
He was. Okay. He was. But it was more on the defense. And I just think I was watching the play and I was like, yeah, they're going to call it. But they didn't. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, yeah, they would have called it in the 3rd quarter. They would have called it in the 2nd quarter. They would have called it if the score disparity were wider. And to me, my problem is just that. Right? A rule is a rule is a rule. Call it. Call it the same way, whatever it is. I just want consistency from the Zebras, whether it's the pros, whether it's the college, whether it's high school. And that is not there. That consistency is not there. We're going to talk about that lack of consistency at the pro level in a little bit.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I'll be honest, and this is not just my anti-Ole Miss bias. Miami's defensive line was held every play. They
would almost have to, right?
A lot. And Ole Miss got called for 4 penalties for 34 yards.
Yeah. Yep.
And you've got basically a pro defensive line going against not a great college offensive line. They're holding every play. It's obvious why it's not getting called.
Yep. Yeah. That's just frustrating. All right. Let's talk about on the other side before we come back to Trinidad Chambliss, because I do want your thoughts on what he has done for his draft stock. But first, let's talk about those closer to the top of the upcoming draft. The two quarterbacks faced off in the other semifinal. Widely considered to be the 1 and 2 picks in the upcoming NFL draft, right? Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore.
Sort of 1 and 2 quarterbacks, right?
Yep. And effectively, we thought this was going to be the showdown of epic proportions. Two stud quarterbacks. Who's gonna go one? Is it Mendoza? Is it Dante? I think it's gonna be Mendoza. Even before that game, definitely after the game. But how did Indiana do what they did? We talked about how Oregon has more or had more NFL ready talent on the field, right? How did they dominate the way they did?
Look, I've seen some stuff online because I was trying to figure this out too. Because I know what I watched, which was Indiana taking advantage of every Oregon mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mendoza was really efficient, 17 of 20, right, 85%. Oregon actually outgained Indiana for the game.
They did.
Yep, 378 to 362. But Indiana was just terrifyingly efficient and took advantage of all those turnovers. And they just, I don't know if this is Signetti really just being the best X's and O's game preparation coach we've ever seen. Because at this point, it's kind of hard to argue against it, right?
Yeah. We keep saying he doesn't have the talent that his opponent does. And he keeps winning.
He's not just beating them, though. He's beating the tar out of them.
Yep. So we talk about, some of those coaches that are leaving stuff on the field. Coaches like Day, coaches like Sark down in Texas, right? Because they've got, even Cristobal, because they've got all this talent, you expect more and you get less. But Signetti is the exact opposite. He's giving you more from less and keeps doing it. And for him to have done, doesn't matter. What was the turnover? I've got the box
turnover
score.
Margin? It was
3-1
by Oregon, 0 by Indiana.
It was 3-0. It's not that significant. Look, 3 turnovers is significant, but it's not significant enough to not just overcome the supposed talent disparity, but overcome it to this level, to a 56 to 22. Sorry, go ahead.
What happened the very first play of the game? It was an interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah, pick 6. Yep.
Right? Pick 6. And then, Oregon comes back, ties it. Indiana goes 11 plays, 75 yards, goes up 14-7. Then they get the ball back after a turnover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go 3 plays, 3 yards, 21-7. Then they go 4 plays, 61 yards, 28-7. And then 6 plays, 19 yards after another turnover. And it's 35-7 in the near halftime. And the game's over.
Yeah. So
the turnovers are what blew the game open in the first half.
But 56 to 22. And Oregon supposedly had a good defense, right?
But look at those drives, though. We just look at the drives in the first half, right, for the touchdown scores. You got 25-yard interception return. That's 1 touchdown. Second drive, 11 plays, 75 yards. That's on the Oregon defense. The third drive, 3 plays, 3 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 14 points off of 3 offensive yards out of the first 21. Then the next one, 4 plays, 61 drives, or 61 yards. That's a problem. But then the next one, 6 plays, 19 yards, touchdown. So you had 9 plays for 22 yards equal 3 touchdowns for Indiana in the first half.
Yeah, I guess that'll do.
That's what happens there, right? And that's why coaches go out of their gourd when they have they lose the turnover battle because it's especially when you turn the ball over on your side of the field or have a pick six. It is just they talk about Bill Connolly has his S&P plus and his post game win expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked it up for this game, but turnovers just wreck the post game win expectancy, right? And turnovers that are returned for a touchdown or set you up on the other side in the
On
red
the
zone,
3.
they're worth several percentage points, right?
Yeah.
And when you have 3 of them, it just starts. You're really tilting the scales, And because I watched the game, I was like, Indiana's not physically dominating Oregon; they're just playing better. It's amazing. I mean, hats off to them. And so I have every expectation now, having watched them do that to Alabama and Oregon, that they're going to come out there and they're going to out X's and O's Miami.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, have you seen anything that indicates that's not going to happen?
Zero. I mean, I'm expecting this to be a double-digit victory by Indiana.
The only way it's not is if the Miami defensive line just flat out
just dominates their O-line.
Just dominate against the Indiana offensive line.
Yeah. Surprising. So surprising. All right. We've got about 5 minutes before the next break. Let me talk about this one thing real quick, and then I want to get back to that quarterback conversation. So Mandalay Collection is a family jewelry business that originated in Burma 4 generations ago, designing and providing traditional as well as unique and classic jewelry using diamonds and various Burmese gemstones, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, etc., set in 18 to 21 karat gold. So they've been out east for a while across Pakistan, the UK, the UAE, and now they are not only coming to this country, but coming to this town right here in Dallas. You are cordially invited to attend an exclusive showing of Mandalay Collection's beautiful jewelry on Saturday, January 31st. Is that right? Yeah, January 31st from noon to 5 p.m. at the Nilo Hotel in Plano. Check out their website, www.mandalaycollection.com, and on Instagram at Mandalay Collection. So check it out, January 31st. All kinds of gems and jewelry. All right. So let's talk about, speaking of gems and jewelry, let's talk about the top of the NFL draft, the expected NFL draft. So I think even with the game that Dante Moore had, he's still going 2. Mendoza's going to go 1.
Yeah.
Moore's going to go 2. That's not going to change because I think what I really want your opinion on has Chambliss done enough, regardless of how the let's play it out. Let's say they somehow miraculously win. No, I'm sorry. Ole Miss is done. Sorry. So has he done enough? Has he done enough to crack the top 5? Is somebody going to take a chance on him at 5, 6, 7, maybe?
Oh man, I don't think his draft stock is that high.
He was the second round coming in.
Right. The people are saying that Ty Simpson's going to be drafted above Chambliss. I think Chambliss may be the second coming physically of Kyler Murray with a little bit less speed.
Well, that's not good.
Well. So here's the thing, though. When it comes to the physical comparables, I think Chambliss is probably maybe a more studious person than Kyler Murray.
Well, I mean, this pen sitting on the desk here is more studious than Kyler Murray, right? We've heard the stories.
But what I don't know is, so he's short and doesn't have elite arm strength.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't have. I mean, Murray's got better arm strength than him. So
not enough.
He lost his appeal to get another year of eligibility because he just didn't have the medical documentation for it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because he came from Division II and he played great this year. But I think that he's a day 3 pick because of his physical limitations.
Well, unless the Cleveland Browns have a pick in the first round,
Man,
they might draft him and Simpson, right?
yeah, I see. I actually, everybody's saying this is a weak quarterback class. So if I'm Shamlis, may be advantaged by that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, like, look, as a college player, man, he's on fire as a college player. Right? And Shamlis was just super accurate. He knew the offense. Look, and it's not the thing that kills you. I think from like a bigger school perspective is they're probably looking at Ole Miss and they're probably like, why isn't our offense why doesn't it look like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a super complex offense. It just runs some simple concepts out of the veer and shoot. The Baylor. It's basically a
That
descendant
RG3
of the
offense.
Baylor offense more than anything else.
Yep.
Even though Kiffin never studied under him. So, and maybe I think that's why LSU hired Kiffin, because they're looking, well, if Ole Miss can do this, why can't we? And I would ask Miami, if Ole Miss can do this offensively, why can't you? And a lot of it has to do with evaluation. And I think that's where Shamlis, or actually not Shamlis, but Signetti probably has a superpower as well. It's not just game day preparation, but his evaluation of talent and what they can do and what he needs for his system. Pretty on point.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see. But I still I think we're in agreement. We still see Mendoza and Moore going 1-2.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Dante Moore. Maybe somebody. I forget. I think who has I can't even remember who ended up the worst record. Who has the first pick? Arizona has one of the higher picks, right?
Oh, let me double check. I thought that let me check and see who has the first pick. I don't want to lie.
Yeah.
All
right. We'll take a break. Yeah, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this up and then switch the spotlight over to the world of professional football, because there's some exciting stuff happening. There's a couple of games that took place yesterday. Wildcard weekend is in full swing, and another few games, 4 games, whatever it is. Today, that's going to happen with a big one. Today, I'm only focused on one game. That's going to take place in 59 minutes. We'll talk all about that when we come back from the break. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
This is Radio Azad, where your voice matters.